Hi, my name is Laura Delano, and this is Recovering from Psychiatry. My video today is really geared towards those of you out there who are in the middle of coming off of psychiatric drugs. I've been thinking a lot about my own experiences recently, especially because now that I'm getting closer and closer to reaching my 4-year mark of being free from over 10 years of psych drugs. I'm noticing how different things are, how much has changed over these past few years, and I've been thinking back a lot to what it was like during my actual taper, in my first year off, in my second year off, in my third year off, and now, coming up to being off for 4 years, because it really is remarkable how much has changed. And if you told me at the start of my journey that I'd be where I am today, I never would have believed you, ever. I couldn't have possibly grasped that I'd be as healed as I am today. So I think it's really important for those of us who are years in to share about what the journey has been like, so that people at earlier stages can cling on to that beacon of hope. So yes, if you're out there and you're in the middle of tapering off, or you're in withdrawal, and you're in agony and hell, and you can't sit in your skin, you can't even put a sentence together when you're trying to communicate to a family member or a friend, you can barely pull yourself out of bed to get in the shower. I've been there, and I can completely identify with being in that place, and it's a really hard place to be in. It's a scary place to be in, especially when you don't have any evidence. It feels like you don't have any evidence of positive change happening. So one helpful tip that I often share with people is to view the pain that you're in, to view however this withdrawal is manifesting itself in you physically. If you're having nerve pain, you're having migraines, you have achy joints, stomach problems, whatever it is. If it's physical pain, emotional pain, you can't sit still, you're debilitated by panic, you're full of rage, you're so deeply depressed you can't even pull yourself out of bed, and then the mental withdrawal, your mind is going a million miles a minute, you're thinking totally crazy thoughts, you can't communicate, you can't read, you can't remember anything. All of this, if you can, try viewing it as evidence of change happening. Your body right now and your brain are working so hard to heal, and all of this agony is really a byproduct of healing. It's a byproduct of change happening, of positive change happening, healing change happening. But in order to heal, things have to be, basically your body and your brain have to be thrown into this horrendously disrupted state. So that was helpful for me to start to view my pain as evidence of healing. And it also, that helped me stay connected to the reason why I was in withdrawal in the first place. It's because I wanted to find out who I was off of these meds. And that leads me to my second tip, which has been really helpful for me, and is one that I suggest to friends all over the world, is, what is your beacon? What is it that you're going towards? What's the meaning behind why you decided to come off of psych drugs? It could be tons of different things. It could be you want to get your physical health back. It could be you no longer have any interest in having any kind of relationship to the mental health system. For me, it was, I wanted to find out who I was off of meds, because I'd been on them for so many years that I had absolutely no sense of self, no identity. I didn't know what emotions were mine and what were my pills. You know, I didn't know what thoughts were mine. I didn't know what my personality was like. I didn't know what I believed in and what I valued. And that for me became my beacon. I knew with that as my endpoint, finding myself, that I was ready to face anything. And so I kept that at the front and center of my entire withdrawal journey. I still have it at the front and center of my journey today. And it helped me get through some of the darkest hours. You know, when I couldn't get out of bed, I couldn't shower for a week. I couldn't do anything really. I knew that I could keep going because I wanted to get to that end goal, to that beacon, at the other side of the storm that I was in. So I think if it can be really helpful to just sit down and find the meaning in your experience. A third tip that was really helpful for me as well is, you know, I think one of the very common experiences in withdrawal is to become isolated, especially because about 99.9% of the world around us just does not understand how harmful these drugs can be and how difficult it is to come off. And people say, oh, it's in your head, or oh, you know, this is your underlying condition. This isn't anything having to do with these medicines. It can be a really isolating experience to come off of psych drugs in the world, in society today, and that isolation can really lead to a place of total hopelessness and total alienation. And so I think finding community of like-minded people, finding community with others who are in the process of coming off is really critical. And if you don't know how to find community, there are some great resources that I will add at the end of this video. Most of them are online, so that you can tap into these growing every day. These networks are growing larger and larger of people who are in the process of coming off and who are coming together to support each other, to inspire each other, to give each other hope. Because when you're in community and you're with others who are going through or who have gone through what you're going through, then, you know, if you've lost faith in yourself or hope in yourself and your ability to heal, just having the evidence that others have healed, that can sometimes be enough to keep going yourself. And I know that was really big for me when I was in the throes of agonizing withdrawal and I couldn't grasp how I could ever possibly heal. I could look to others to see how they'd healed and that they had once been where I was, and now they no longer were. And that was really important for me. At the end of the day, I've found that so much of the journey of coming off of psych drugs is about one's relationship to the unknown. For me, that meant my relationship to myself and to who I was becoming during withdrawal, and to who I'm continuing to become every day. And also, of course, the actual withdrawal process itself, because there's no way to know how long it's going to take, what's going to happen along the way, and so much of the time, what the experiences that come up even mean. Why is this withdrawal symptom emerging right now, or why is my mind doing this, or why is my body doing this? Sometimes there are answers, but I found that the majority of the time there are no answers. There is no kind of clear-cut explanation beyond withdrawal itself to explain, why certain things emerged along the way for me. And on the flip side of that, there aren't oftentimes clear-cut solutions or resolutions to these issues. I mean, I've definitely found that time has been my biggest healer, and that's a frustrating thing to accept, because especially in my experience as a mental patient, I was used to getting this kind of quick fix. Here's a label, here's a pill, it's going to make this go away. I was so immersed in that way of thinking about my emotional pain. I can go to a doctor and get something to make this pain go away, even though, of course, it never actually made the pain go away. It really only actually made things worse. But that was the belief I had. And so in withdrawal, that same kind of belief can continue on, and it's really hard to shift out of that and to say, you know what, I am in so much pain right now, but I'm not going to go seek an answer for it. I'm not going to try to make it go away. I'm going to learn how to be in it, even though I don't know when it's going to change, if it's going to get worse, how it's going to get better. And that's a really hard thing to do, especially to do alone and in isolation. So again, that's another reason why community is so important. But I've found that really focusing on my relationship to the unknown, which then leads me to my relationship to having a sense of faith in myself and hope. And synonymous words to me are faith, hope, trust in oneself. That for me was the only real solution to all of this unknown, because there was no way to find evidence of how long it was going to take for me to heal. All I could do was believe that it was possible. I didn't know how, I didn't know what needed to happen, but as long as I clung to this sense of faith in myself that I am going to heal, I don't know how, but I'm going to heal, I was able to keep putting one foot in front of the other, day after day, month after month, year after year. And so I think just taking a look at one's own relationship to the unknown, especially as it relates to pain and suffering, that can be a really liberating thing, because at the end of the day, there is so much that we can't control about withdrawal, so much, but we can control how we make sense of the experience and how we respond to all of those things that we can't control. And you could argue that's kind of at the spiritual realm, whatever word you want to use to talk about this idea. For me, I make sense of it as spiritual, but it doesn't have to be, because I think it's a very human thing. It's about me tapping into my human spirit, which had been so harmed and injured by psychiatry, and me looking inwards to find a sense of faith in my capacity as a human being on this planet to survive and to heal. And so that helped me just get through the unknown. And now I'm at this place, almost 4 years in, a bit over 3.5 years in, where I still have plenty of healing to do. My adrenal system is still fatigued. I have thyroid problems. I have some other kind of issues that still haven't resolved themselves around my ability to regulate stress and all of those things. But I'm just so full of faith in my process of healing from psychiatry. And so every day, even if it's a tough day, and these last few weeks have been really tough, there's a lot of change happening in my life that's painful and really sad and confusing, but I just feel completely okay in it, because I believe in myself so much, and I believe in my human spirit, and I feel so connected to my life, which is all a gift of liberating myself from psychiatry. And so, but it's hard to feel that when you're early on, because now I have 3.5 years of evidence to look back to. My God, and when I think back to where I was 6 months in, and a year in, and 2 years in, it's almost as though I'm thinking back to someone else's life. I mean, I feel really closely connected to that time of my life still, but I am just so different. And the way I'm able to sit with myself and to feel my feelings and to sit with my mind, it's just so different than it was a few years ago. And so I have that evidence that makes going forward feel much easier. And it's like, of course I'm going to go forward. I'm excited now to see, how much more healing I have left to do. But when you're early on and you don't have that evidence, it's really hard. So if you're there, if that's where you're at in your journey, it's okay that you don't have the evidence. It's okay that you're feeling like you're the one person in the world who's never going to heal. It's okay that it seems that things are getting worse for you. You know, I've experienced all of those thoughts and feelings, and it's really, really, there's nothing I can say that can make that go away, but all you can do is keep going. And if you can't believe in yourself at this moment in time and your own capacity to heal, try listening to the stories of others who've walked this path before you, and have faith in their capacities to heal, and hold on to that until you can hold it for yourself. I mean, I know I believe in you. I don't even know who I'm speaking to right now, but I can say with 100% assurance that I believe in your capacity to heal. And I just believe in, generally speaking, that as human beings, we are so resilient. Our brains are so unbelievably plastic, and our bodies are, it's just unbelievable what we can heal from. And you have that capacity in you. It just starts with you finding that belief in yourself. So I hope this video has been helpful in whatever way. And I send you love and liberation as you continue forward on your process of psychiatric freedom. And yes, hang in there for the end of this video. I'll be sure to put up some resources that will be helpful for you as you continue on your journey of healing from psychiatry. Take care.